Hey guys, the build show is on the road today. I'm in Scottsdale, Arizona, and I'm here for an architects convention I'm going to be speaking at. But anytime I travel, I love to go visit builders in the area that I've gotten to know. And we're going to be visiting a builder that I know actually through Instagram, a Finer Touch Homes. They are building a house up in those mountains right over there that has an insulated concrete form foundation, or maybe the whole framing job. I'm not really sure. This is gonna be cool. Y'all ready to join me? Let's get going. Goodness gracious. Wow, this is gorgeous. I can see why you might want to live up here. Oh, here's one under construction right here. Yeah, looks like a very much what I would expect for the desert. Flat, low. Look at that house. It's like open cell spray foam in the roof line. That's interesting. Love how the palette of colors just kind of blends in this area. These houses look like they kind of grew up out of the dirt. Oh, I see where we're going. Can you see it up there? See those foam walls? That looks like an ICF house with a brand new roof. That's what Paul mentioned, that they were just starting to put the roof on. Oh yeah, that's cool. Here's where we're going, right there, people. There we go. Finer Touch Construction. There's Paul's truck right there. Yeah, we got ICF first floor walls. More than just basement. It looks like maybe second story has traditional framing though. Oh, and look, a little bit of kind of standard block construction here for some retaining walls. Dang, look at this site. Look at all the people hiking up. I don't know if you can see them up there, but there's a ton of people hiking up in the mountains. All right, let's go see if we can find Paul. Hey, there they are. Hello. Paul, Adam, how are you guys? Great to see you, gentlemen.
Good to see you. Thanks for coming out.
Oh man, what a cool project, y'all. Fox blocks. This is the ICF block, I'm guessing.
Yes, it is.
All right. So we got some framing too. So what do we got? We got Fox blocks on the first floor, and then maybe standard framing on the second floor.
Yep.
Very cool. So what's the purpose for Fox blocks in this area? You don't normally think of desert communities and ICF construction. What's up with that, Adam?
Well, in this high-end community, in HOA, it's required to have either masonry or an ICF concrete first floor walls, as well as we love to use ICF because it's a very versatile product and it insulates well, and we can have engineered openings for our windows and be able to change them up at any time.
Yeah, look at that big old opening right there. So you've got, looks like some support right there for the pour, and then basically you've got the ICF across, which means that you've got a bond beam, a concrete bond beam in there with some rebar. So even that long of a span you can do with Fox blocks. Yes. Or with ICF blocks in general. Give me a tour, guys. Show me the house. This is cool. I'm noticing that all of your bucks as we walk up here are all LVLs. Is that right?
That is correct.
So this buck right here is LVL, which means they've got a wood buck to install the window conventionally and a big surface to nail to. Why the LVLs though, and not just standard lumber?
Well, it's actually acting as a form also for the concrete. When they cut those windows out, we've got to hold back the concrete. So when they pour, we've got that opening ready for windows.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. So plus you've got what, 10-inch or so blocks or 12-inch blocks?
Yeah, that there is 10.
Okay, 10-inch blocks.
Well, with the foam, it comes out to 10 and a quarter, but
okay.
We call it a 6-inch concrete form in there.
Gotcha. Now I see on this block here that's broken, you've got some polypropylene or something in there. This is how you would actually attach screws, right?
Yes.
How do you know where those are? How do you locate those on the block?
So on Fox blocks, wherever their logo appears, that's where you can screw point.
Ah, okay.
So, if you're attaching lath.
So right here where you can see the Fox block logo, that means you can actually have a screw attachment point. You can't nail into that, can you?
No, it has to be screws.
It's got to be a screw. Okay. So what's your cladding on this house later then, guys?
This is a combination of stucco and stone.
Okay. And so you're going to screw your lath on then?
Yes, we will.
Oh, that's something different. Interesting. All right, let's go check out the inside. Man, look at these views. This canyon is absolutely gorgeous around here. What's the name of this area we're located?
The community is Estancia.
Okay.
And we've got the Troon Mountains, and we have Pinnacle Peak just to the south.
Oh man, that's what this gorgeous peak is right here. This is called Pinnacle Peak right up here.
Yes.
I bet there's some window views of that peak in a few key places, aren't there?
Absolutely. We'll be showing you. They came on mistake.
That's awesome. So give me the tour. We land into the great room?
Yes, we came through the entryway. We just landed in the great room, which will open up with big multi-slider windows, doors. Lead you out to the pool. And
some beautiful outdoor space here on this house.
a lot of these openings were smaller, but when the homeowner came here and saw all of these views, he opted to change most of these to bigger openings so he could take advantage of that.
Oh, is that right? Interesting. So how did that work? Your Fox blocks were in, but you weren't poured yet? And then
we did a walk before we went to actual pouring them. So he walked and he saw that he wanted to change some stuff. So with Fox blocks, if you haven't poured the concrete, it's just about cutting out foam or adding foam. So
yeah, and you're just moving the rebar around probably, and
Yep.
There you go. Now, conventional framing for the roof, it looks like here, though. So you've got trusses that are spanning this big distance here, and then traditional, plywood on top of that. And then, are you using? I'm guessing a lot of masonry on the outside, based on the community I saw when I drove in. What's the roof on this house, Adam?
This is going to be concrete roof tile.
Okay, and pretty much a full masonry exterior.
Yes.
Is that for fire purposes, or is that more for the high-end community, but it also works for fire purposes?
For both, correct.
Yeah, because if you've got an ICF house, you certainly have some fire benefits to a house like this as well.
Absolutely.
Now, what's this wing that we're walking down into here?
So this is the mini master wing, but it also has multiple rooms. This is a TV watching room, and then we have several other bedrooms.
And just for clarity, these 2x4s that are in here, these are just for stability from the pour, right?
Correct.
And those will get knocked out, and then your window's got that big view. And again, interesting to see that big old header right there. The concrete beam above there is supporting all these big openings. These openings aren't even that big compared to some of the other ones we saw.
Correct. So this is one of the areas that we decided to open up the windows after the initial install of the Fox blocks. So from this area of the mini master, you've got views of this rock area here.
Gorgeous.
Mountains out both the south and to the east, and obviously to the west with Pinnacle Peak.
That's cool. All right, now tell me about your slab. So is this slab poured first here, and then the Fox blocks are laid on top? No, it doesn't look like that.
Correct. So the Fox blocks are installed as a stem wall first, and then we'll pour in our slab and then raise the walls with the Fox block ICF.
Ah, and you know what? We can see that a little bit right here, and probably better on the back of the house, but looks like you've got a footer that went in place.
Correct.
And so you probably poured a footer for the whole house, and then your Fox blocks are laid up from the footer.
Correct.
And then, so our grade is actually several feet below us here. And so this slab was poured actually with a couple feet below grade of this stem wall here. And then it looks like some kind of, what's your waterproofing I'm seeing on the outside here?
So this is a tough and dry waterproof.
Okay, so you've got a liquid applied, looks like you can see it in this corner here. You've got a liquid applied or a spray applied waterproofing. And then on top of that, you've got a protection board that's going in. And my guess is in this desert, you don't get a lot of rain, but when you get rain, it's big rain, right?
Correct. And with it being on a hillside lot, the mountain's picking up quite a bit of rain and bringing it down to your house.
Yeah, I can see that.
So later on, we'll show you some of our drainage practices.
So as we're walking through here, show me the other side of the house, but Adam, tell me about some of the advantages in your mind of these ICF blocks compared to traditional cinder block masonry construction in this area.
One of the best things about the ICF is the insulation value. So just with an ICF block, the R value is an R22, and with the entire wall system, it's an R24. So that means you need less heating and cooling equipment in order to heat and cool the same space.
Yeah, so you've got a couple inches of foam, then you've got a concrete core, then a couple more inches of foam. So it's a concrete wall with insulation continuous on both the inside and the out. Again, look at those giant openings, man. Those are huge.
That's one of the huge openings that we made.
Yeah, that's a monster opening. Was this one of the ones that your clients changed after they saw the view?
So this was a 9-foot opening.
That looks pretty
we
maximum.
Now have changed into a 12-foot wide opening.
Oh man, that's awesome, Adam. I love it.
And this is the fireplace that's going to be here. Back-to-back fireplace, one in the outside area.
Oh, so now we can see the kind of the core. What happened here that you couldn't bring that ICF out or didn't want to bring that ICF out here?
That's what that LVL is on here to actually create the form. So we stripped that after it was poured.
Gotcha. And now you can see this is 2 or 3 inches, maybe 2.25 inches of EPS foam, a concrete core. There's probably rebar in here.
Oh, yeah.
Do you guys have a sample of these blocks that we could take a
we
look
take
at?
a look at those in the garage.
Okay, cool. Let's get the rest of the tour of the master. What else do we have to see over here?
The sitting area with its own little patio.
Yeah, that's cool.
Sitting area.
We need to go out there and take a tour of that. The outdoor space looks amazing on this house.
Master bathroom.
Oh man.
Ceilings.
And look at these big old openings with mountain views through them.
Freestanding tub, steam shower.
I love seeing that you guys are dropping your slabs in all of your shower
Yeah,
wet areas.
Zero entry.
That's really smart.
So we're looking to use a Schluter system.
Oh, for your waterproofing, okay.
Yeah, and I think the Curdy would work well with this because it can go right up the walls.
That's right. You could screw your Curdy board right onto these. And again, now that we're not in the bright sun, you can probably see it, but it says Fox Blocks right here, which means that there's a screw attachment point. So you could screw your Curdy board on there, and then all your waterproofing is going to be pretty straightforward from there. I'm seeing that your sills are pitched too, it looks like, guys. Is that right?
We pre-pitched all those sills to make sure the water goes where it's supposed to.
Yeah, so this is maybe half-inch pitch or so we're pitched to the outside. And then you guys will do some waterproofing on those openings,
Oh yeah.
I'm assuming. And what was I going to say? On the outside, you're in the desert, so you don't get a ton of moisture, but there's probably some amount of waterproofing you need to do on the above-grade walls as well, right?
Yes. So on the above grade walls, we do a Tyvek stucco wrap when we do our stucco install.
Gotcha. Now, what is this big vault room over here? This is cool looking.
This is the master closet, also a makeup room for the wife.
Oh man, look at this closet. This is going to be a nice temperate room with these walls. And check out these big windows. Look at that view.
Why don't we just expand it?
Not a bad view.
That's that peak you were telling me about, isn't it?
Yep.
Not a bad view to get dressed in.
Yeah, not a bad view to get dressed in. This is a really cool house.
Those kind of windows you don't need artwork on the wall.
So are we going to frame on top of these walls? We're not, right? We're just going to screw our drywall right into these walls.
Correct.
Now, what about utilities? We've got electrical that needs to go into these walls. What are you doing for electrical?
Probably one of the biggest key things about this is that you have to start making channels. And they have melting tools that you can melt out the box. Chainsaw applications where you can core lines for water lines and electrical lines.
Okay, so you're basically going to take a little bit of this foam out. You're going to brace your electrical in there, and then you can go right over top of this
Right.
with your drywall. I'm assuming you're just using typical drywall on the inside of this
5/8
house.
drywall.
Yeah, 5/8 drywall.
And you'll notice in all of our bathrooms where there's water sinks and shower heads, we've tried to frame out for those.
Yeah.
So we don't have to get as extensive as
Yeah, so you don't have any water lines in the ICF. In other words, your water lines are all in the inside framing, which makes sense from a standpoint of workability, but also we don't want our lines in the outside wall for freezing if at all possible. And then you've got leave outs here
these
for drains and other plumbing like this. That there's probably a big tub going in here.
Yep.
Show me those. Where are those blocks located that we can see that hadn't been poured? I'd love to see what the kind of core of those blocks look like?
In the garage.
Great. So why are we framing in front of this wall now, though?
This is a vanity. This has 2 sinks, so we want to do plumbing in these walls without cutting in a bunch of foam. And to show you part of this ICF, when you had to move this window over, we just cut the block out and set a new block.
Okay, so this window got moved after it was originally framed in ICF. It was here, it moved over here, and then when you patched it, you've got some orange spray foam that's kind of holding it in, and then you can see a little bit of the concrete squeeze out right here. You probably had a piece of OSB or something to kind of hold that in place. And this area got framed, so all the plumbing is in. That makes sense. What's this room over here?
I guess bunk room for grandkids, I guess.
Oh, that's cool.
It's gonna be, this whole wall is gonna be two bunk bed sets built in with staircase in it.
Very cool. All right, garage. Man, the garage looks like a bunker. Look at this room, guys. All ICF walls in this garage. I bet this is going to be one temperate room. Ah, and this is the one I wanted to see right here. All right, so show me how these blocks lock together and how this works. These are, what dimension roughly? 2 foot tall by maybe 3 foot, something like that, or a foot and a half by 3?
18 to 16 inches, I think this is. And the inner core of these is, this is a 6-inch, and they go up to 8-inch. So you've got the interlocking patterns that go together.
Okay, so it's kind of, it is a little bit like a Lego block,
Like a
really,
Lego.
right? Because you've got these gaps or holes in here, and then this kind of locks together on the next block down.
It's pretty together.
And are you gluing those blocks together or no?
No, they've created this system where you don't have to glue that. They all interlock pretty tight.
They're tight enough without glue. That's
And
wild.
on the end, you'll see a staggered locking.
Okay, and then you've also got a chair pre-built for the rebar, right? Okay, so there's the two
those will
come
lock
together.
together like that.
That's really cool.
And then you'll line up your.
And so as you're doing the courses, my guess is you're dropping rebar in here. Do you know what size rebar you used on this?
Combination of 4 and 5s, and on some of these big lintels, we went up to 6
Okay.
for engineering.
So
purposes.
number 4 rebar, for anybody who doesn't know, that's 1/2 inch rebar, and a 6 rebar is 3/4 rebar. So you've got plenty of steel in there when you pour that, and then when it's poured, you've got what, I don't know, 6-inch concrete wall, something like that.
This one's 6.
And this garage is a perfect example to show how much continuous insulation you're going to have. Look at that wall over there, all continuous, of 2.5 inches of EPS on the inside and all the way over here as well. Now I'm seeing these floor trusses are landing on top of the wall, so we've got standard framing above. But talk to me about what's going on over here, because these trusses look like they're ledgered on to the outside wall here.
Yeah,
So is this wall taller then?
This was all pre-planned. This wall goes up above onto the 2nd story, so you have to lag your ledger board in here. So
Okay, so this ledger board is lagged. Now is it lagged after the fact?
Did
you drill those lags?
We pre-planned for that. We cut out square impressions into the foam, so that when we pour the concrete, it will ooze into those forms, so that that ledger is sitting pressed against concrete. It's not compressing foam.
Got it. Okay, so each one of these lag bolts we're seeing, that's basically a J bolt,
Yes.
where they cut out a square of the forms. They brought the J bolt all the way through. They probably tied it to the chair, or probably tied it to the rebar running across. And then when they poured the concrete, they've got.
We apply plates with holes where the lag comes through
Got
onto
it.
that. So when the concrete is poured and presses up against that
Yep.
board, it creates that.
And now your ledger board is sitting against concrete and not compressing the foam too. That's pretty neat. So if you were going to build a 2-story house, that's probably the method you would use, I'm guessing, for that, right?
Yes.
Yeah, that's pretty smart.
One of the other details you'll notice here is that this ICF down below appears to be thicker. That is because this is below grade, so this is an 8-inch ICF block versus up above, it changes over to 6-inch as it's not retaining dirt.
Gotcha. So you mean 8-inch, meaning the concrete thickness is 8-inch. The overall block dimension is probably more like 12 or something, right?
Correct, 12 and a quarter, 12
Got
and a
it.
half.
Because we're below grade here?
Yes.
Ah, gotcha. You're going to have to walk me around this side later so we can see how far below grade we are.
Definitely.
That's pretty cool. I'm seeing that in a few places, your blocks have kind of yellowed out. I'm assuming that's just from the sun.
Sun and weathering and the heat.
Yeah, but that's not going to affect performance at all. Now, what's going on here? You've got a joint on this block here, and then a joint over here. Tell me about that.
So those, they're not control joints. You have corner blocks when you're using ICF. So
Okay.
you kind of have to plan those corners, and you got to have a joint where we can
Get the
bring
dimensions.
those two dimensions together.
Got it. So where you've got a joint here, it looks like maybe a screwed piece of OSB in
Yes.
here. They pre-foamed the joint wherever they could, and then when they pulled the OSB, you've got a couple of holes in the ICF, and you can see the concrete's flush. And now you're still ready for sheetrock show. We can just draw all right onto that. That's pretty awesome. Let's why don't you guys give me a tour of the backyard space? Let's head out there next.
Sounds great.
I just got all right, so now we're walking out of that great room, family room, and man, look at this beautiful pool you guys are building back here.
Isn't this beautiful?
Oh man, so this is
Nice
probably,
Baja shelf.
yes, the beach as they call it, right?
Yes.
Put your chairs in here, you got 6 inches of water, then you've got the deep section here. But this is what I wanted to see earlier. We've got a little bit of the footing showing here now,
Yes.
and we can see that the footing was poured, and it's, I don't know, 4 or 5 feet, 4 feet below the slab line right there. So the footing's first, and then they're laying the Fox blocks, ICF blocks up, and they're pouring the ICF blocks first before the slab. Is that right?
That is correct.
Gotcha. And then coming in with framing and roof, and you're done. That's pretty neat. Okay, now this is the area where we showed that waterproofing before. That's that tough and dry protection board on the outside. And again, you can see the footer over there. That's pretty cool. Now what's happening on the rest of this backyard here? You've got a big column going in right here?
So this column brings the roof for the patio where we have a barbecue and TV, fireplace, niches.
Okay.
And then we have this wall here that'll be a gabion bench.
Oh, a gabion wall?
And,
Oh,
we
I
have a
love gabion walls.
Fire pit.
If you tell people what that is if they don't know.
So gabion walls are kind of a metal fencing that then is filled with decorative stone.
Yeah, I think I saw. By the way, we haven't even talked about it, but your boss Brad is who I met originally through Instagram, and he put some gabion wall pictures of another job of yours that were absolutely gorgeous on a while back. All right, so now we're walking past that courtyard, and what are these big white bags in this swale I'm seeing here?
These are bags of riprap that we'll be using for ground cover, where our drainage and our rainwater is going to be running through, and we're going to be able to protect it from erosion.
Oh man, that's really smart. So you've got a swale that you started here, so any water coming down off the mountain is going to come into the swale and be able to basically run around the house. And then you preloaded all these riprap bags. Did these get craned in? I mean, I can't imagine how heavy that is.
Before we had all of the ICF block up and retaining walls complete, we went ahead and craned these in so we wouldn't have to try to bring them in manually after the fact.
Wow. And you place them about 6 feet apart, so you're going to have plenty of rock for when that time comes.
We hope.
Tell me about the soil around here. What's the, I'm assuming there's no clay soil, right? I mean, we're in the desert. This has got to be pretty much all rock, isn't it?
Consider this decomposed granite.
This is decomposed granite. Now is this native, or you guys brought this in?
No, this is all native. This is the hillside that you'll see,
Okay.
and it's all natural.
And
So-
Adam, how far did you guys have to cut in for these footers
So-
into native soil?
So we cut in probably about 20 feet
Did you really?
in order to get our engineered pad built.
And no rock at that depth?
We did not run into any kind of hard dig or rock except in the driveway. We had a few areas when we were putting in our drainage.
Interesting. And so then once you dug down that 20 feet, what did you do to make a pad?
So we basically moistened the water, mixed it, compacted it to engineered specs.
Okay, so kind of like a compacted road base, and then you're pouring a footer on that and going up from there. I'm guessing you don't have a lot of foundation problems in this area, do you?
No, we don't.
Yeah, I can see that. Pretty solid, pretty solid. Okay, here's that waterproofing again. We can see. So this is a spray applied waterproofing, and this is the protection board that gets laced up on top. And you can see the serious swale going around the house. That's pretty
I don't
awesome.
know if you've noticed here that we've got the whole place fenced off.
Yeah, why did you do that, Paul?
That's considered our building envelope. We can't go beyond that fence, so there's a desert that's protected. You buy a piece of property, and part of that land you can't even touch because it's protected desert.
Oh,
They
interesting.
give you an envelope that you can build in on your property.
And so beyond this fence is beyond your envelope. That's
Yeah,
a
we
no
can't
touch
go
zone,
out there,
basically.
We can't touch that.
Which makes sense that you're preloading these bags now, because you're not
Right.
going to have access looping up and around.
That's the other reason we had to build a pool first, because we can't get any heavy equipment back there.
Yeah, you got to build that pool before the foundation probably even went in.
Yep.
That's pretty smart. All right, so wait a minute. This is where we were before, right? This is that master.
This is that master closet. So we'll recess down in.
So that is way down there. That's a serious retaining wall in this case on the
Exactly.
ICF,
So
isn't
you
it?
can imagine how deep those footings are in this location.
Yeah, because here I'm eye level with the top of the wall, which is kind of fun to see now. So talk to me about these J-bolts then and this pour and how you're putting the roofing on then.
So basically what we do when we pour the ICF block, we leave in these anchor bolts in which we can tie in a bottom plate,
Okay.
pressure treated, and then run our trusses on top of it.
And your trusses are just toenailed now, but I'm assuming you're going to come back with some kind of hurricane tie in there.
Straps will be used on H25s.
The old H25s. He knows his Simpson catalog numbers well if he knows the H25. That's pretty awesome. That's cool. And then you mentioned this is a clay tile roof?
This
Or,
is actually a concrete tile.
Concrete tile roof, okay. Gotcha. And this is that window we pointed up at and said, look at the view of this peak right here. There's even hikers up there in that mountain range above us. Now we've got a couple pads here. I'm assuming this is equipment pads.
Yeah, these are 4 AC pads for this side of the house.
Okay, so we got a couple AC pads going on here and a footer. And this must have been that courtyard space that we saw from that window.
This is
Down
our
the
other
courtyard.
retaining wall. That's the garage. We're now standing above the garage.
Oh, okay. So beyond here is that garage space. Got it. So that's that area that's quite a bit underground. And then we've got another little footer right here. What's that? What's this wall going
It's
to be
going
for
to be a
us?
site wall to hide all the equipment that's up on this area.
Okay, gotcha. So people that are hiking up the mountains aren't going to see all of your AC equipment because you've got some kind of a hiding wall.
Yeah.
That's pretty smart. I like that idea. And as we walk around now, this is that wall that was coming up out of the ground doing retaining duties for us. And this is where that ledger was probably, right, Paul?
Yes. And that'll be a fence type wall for the deck up above. So the back part's closed off. The front will have a wrought iron type
Gotcha.
detail.
And the swale's coming around, and what is this giant steel grate I'm seeing at the end of this swale right here?
This is where all the drainage off this mountain is going to be going.
Oh my gosh. Wow.
That's how we found it.
A big old vault. Holy
We've got an
cow.
Access panel here.
What's in the base of this thing? Hold that thing up. Let me see if I can see it.
24-inch.
Oh my
drainage pipe.
gosh, there's a big old pipe down
I
there.
could crawl through that down to the other end.
Holy cow. And this is all waterproofed. This is cinder block though, not
Yeah, this is
ICF.
cinder block.
And then all waterproofed, and there's that big pipe, so when things come down, when all that water rushes down here, fills this up. And then I don't know if you saw it before, but there's a beautiful curved block retaining wall right here. And then where's that pipe run to? Is it going underneath this section?
Yeah, it goes underneath this section. There's a clean out manhole right there. And then it goes across the driveway and daylight's done.
Ah, okay, so that's a manhole right there that we'll get installed later. Just a piece of OSB over top of the pipe to protect it from getting stuff in there. And then it's coming down there. So my guess is y'all had to have some kind of a drainage engineer on this job. Is that
Yes,
right?
we did. So all of our homes up here have a grading and drainage engineer that reviews and plans out all of our drainage for us.
Holy cow, yeah. I mean, this is serious amount of water flow if you got a 5-inch rainstorm, which happens maybe once a year. But when that happens, you need some space for it. And when you've got that 100-year flood, you actually have the room for it. That is cool. Tell me about these curved retaining walls you got right here. These are cinder block now. We don't need ICF.
Yeah.
No insulation duties here.
It's been all waterproof, but these are kind of decorative, kind of going flow with the landscape and giving us some defining space down there.
And man, look at this view of the house now too. My goodness gracious. That is incredible. You can just see how beautiful this landscape is.
And like I said before, that we're not allowed to go out into that protected desert, so we had to bring in our own boulders and place them in these certain spots.
Okay, so these are actually brought in
Yeah.
and placed as if they were natural, but they're not originally here. Holy cow, that's cool. Guys, what an incredible tour. I really, really appreciate it. These guys do some great work. If you don't know them, this is
Thank you.
a Finer Touch Construction. I'll put a link in the description to these guys. Several of these guys have Instagram feeds as well, so I'll link to their Instagram feeds. But if you're in this part of the world, this is a design build company that do incredible work, and you should definitely follow them on Instagram to see how they're marketing their company, because they're getting a ton of leads straight from their Instagram feed, and several of their design build houses, like these gorgeous ones, are coming through leads from social media. Pretty incredible. Anyways, guys, thanks for joining me. I really appreciate the tour, gentlemen. Beautiful house. Check out these guys in the description. If you're not already a subscriber, hit that subscribe button below. We've got new content every Tuesday and every Friday. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram. Otherwise, we'll see you next time on The Build Show.